Weapon crafting is a relatively new system that heavily alters the process of getting well-rolled weapons. Even though it has been released for almost 2 years at this point, new players often have a tough time understanding the system and how to use it. In this video, I intend to break down the process of crafting a weapon so that you are equipped with the knowledge to start creating those god roll weapons that you have been dreaming about. A disclaimer before we begin. Destiny is a game that constantly changes and evolves. As such, the information in this video may become less accurate the further in the future you are watching this. Therefore, I would always double check to ensure that the information presented is still accurate. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The first thing to understand when it comes to crafting is what even is this system. Well, to put it simply, weapon crafting is a system that allows you to create weapons with predetermined perks on it. In essence, it allows you to skip grinding for a perfect roll on a weapon and allows you to directly choose the perks and even the stat masterwork that it will receive. These perks must already be in the weapon's natural perk pool to be selectable in crafting. As you may already be able to surmise, this is an incredibly powerful system that helps relieve some of the grinding in this game. So now that we know what weapon crafting is, let's understand how to start using it. To unlock weapon crafting, you would need to finish the first mission in the Witch Queen campaign. This mission is known as The Arrival, and you should be able to launch it by clicking on Savathun's Throne World. This mission will be available to everyone, regardless if you own the Witch Queen expansion or not. After completing this first mission, you should be directed towards the relic in the Enclave. Interact with it and follow the quest to craft the Enigma Glaive. Once you have crafted the glaive, weapon crafting is now unlocked. When you are doing the quest, and even when you interact with the relic afterwards, you may notice that most weapons are not available to be crafted and requires the pattern to be unlocked. How do we get these patterns so that we are able to craft these weapons? Well, we will need to get what is known as red border weapons. What are these red border weapons and why are they so important? Well, occasionally, if you receive a weapon that can be crafted, you may receive a version of it with a red border around it. This weapon has deep sight on it. However, us in the community calls it a red border. Once we have a red border, we can do one of two things to get a pattern from it. We can either extract the pattern by inspecting it and extracting the pattern that way, or we can choose to dismantle it as well. Keep in mind, if you want to infuse a red border weapon into another weapon, extract the deep sight before you do it, otherwise the pattern will not be extracted. To unlock the full pattern for a specific weapon type, you would need to extract 5 red borders of that specific weapon in order to craft it. Note that not all weapons follow this rule. Let's see where we can check our progress. Open up your character page and navigate to the Collections tab. Here we can find patterns and catalysts. Open it up and navigate to the weapon that you want to check the progress of. There, weapons are grouped by ammo type and then by weapon type. Once you find your weapon, you are able to see how many patterns you have already extracted and how many do you need to unlock it. Third-party applications like Destiny Item Manager can also display this information should you prefer to use those instead. Now that we know what are red borders and how to track our pattern progress, let's talk about some ways to farm red borders. This will typically vary heavily from weapon to weapon. For seasonal weapons, you can typically unlock an upgrade from the vendor that allows you to purchase guaranteed red borders. This is typically once per week, but Season of the Witch's ritual table does not follow this. Rather, it only allows for a certain amount of guaranteed red borders to be bought. After you have exhausted your guaranteed red borders, you may choose to keep purchasing the weapon in the hopes that you get it with a red border. For raids, you'll be able to buy a guaranteed red border once per week per account from the ending chest/item, or in the case of Last Wish, upon the completion of the quest O Deep Side of Mine that you can claim every week from Hawthorne in the tower. The only raid that does not follow this pattern is Garden of Salvation due to Garden's weapons not being craftable at the moment. Raid and seasonal weapons make up the majority of craftable weapons in this game. For other weapons, including the ones from the exotic mission Rotator, you should just farm the mission/encounter that drops the specific weapon that you are looking for and hope that you get a red border. Before we move on to the crafting interface, we should talk about Deep Sight Harmonizers. These are items that you can obtain from the Season Pass. These harmonizers allow you to turn normal weapon to red borders as long as the weapon is craftable. You may apply them on the inspect screen as you would with extracting the pattern. Currently, the only way to get deep sight harmonizers are from the Season Pass, so you're only limited to 6 if you own the season. Now that we know how to unlock weapons for crafting, let's talk about the crafting interface. When you first open the relic, you are presented with 2 options, Shape and Reshape. Choose Shape if you want to craft a brand new weapon, choose Reshape if you want to edit a crafted weapon. Let's talk about shaping instead of reshaping, as the crafting interface would be similar in both options. Let's craft a shotgun for today, the Until Its Return from Season of the Deep. Once we have selected this weapon, we will get presented with the following menu. On the left, we have to choose a frame. This will impact the type of stat masterwork that the weapon has. Let's go with the default for now. Next, we can choose our 4-column perks. Let's choose a barrel. As you can see, some of the options are currently locked. This is because the weapon is not high enough level. We will talk about weapon levels and how to quickly level them up later. Let's pick some of the perks to begin, and let's reshape it after we get it leveled up to get the perks that we need. If you look at the 3rd and 4th columns, you may have noticed that there are some duplicate perks, with one normal and one having this yellow glow effect on them. This yellow effect means that the perk is enhanced. Enhanced perks are essentially similar to their normal versions, except they may have improved effects. For example, Bait and Switch Enhanced gives you an extra second on the buff. Incandescent Enhanced improves the amount of scorch that is applied to nearby enemies. To see how enhancing a perk alters the perk itself, I would recommend looking at the Destiny Data Compendium, which is linked in the description. Slotting in an enhanced perk will require spending an Ascendant Alloy per perk. I will explain source of Ascendant Alloy later in the video so that you are able to farm them. After we have selected all the perks, we can safely hit the shape button to confirm our choice, and we will be rewarded with our crafted shotgun. Now that we have this shotgun, let's talk about how to level it up in order to gain access to those locked perks. Currently, the fastest way to do it, provided you have the materials for it, would be to spend the enhancement course to level it up. This can be done from the inspect menu with this button here. If you do not have the enhancement course, don't worry, there are still other good farms. Firstly would be Shurochi. The entrance to the Shurochi encounter has a good amount of ads for you to kill, so it's a great way to level up weapons fast. All you will need is a raid banner to refill your weapon ammo, as well as playing a hunter with Deadfall Tether. Simply tether into the central group of ads when the encounter starts and kill everything in sight with your crafted weapon. If you do not want to spend the raid banners to farm Shurochi, or if you do not have access to Forsaken, you can use the Breakneck mission in the Lightfall campaign. Simply load up the mission and get to the section after the Strand Grapple, where you can place down your first banner. Place down the banner and run wild with your weapon. The only thing that you need to be aware of is to not finish the encounter. This can be done simply by leaving the wyvern that spawns alone and never killing it. Once you run out of ammo or have killed everything except the wyvern, go wipe to either the wyvern or using an explosive weapon like a rocket launcher. This should respawn you at the rally banner. Place it down again and repeat. If you don't have Lightfall and want a free-to-play option for farming weapon levels, you can try doing Altars of Sorrow on the moon. Just fast travel to Sorrow's Harbor and you should see the public event. Although slower, this is still a decent way of farming weapon levels. To be able to unlock all the weapon perks, including the enhanced perks, the weapons would need to be at level 17 or higher. After we have leveled the weapon, we can simply head back to the relic and reshape the weapon to slot in the perks that we want. Before I end this video, let me mention how to farm a very specific resource that is needed for crafting enhanced perks. That would be Ascendant Alloy. Currently, there are only a few ways to farm it. Finishing higher level weekly campaign missions, Master being the most optimal, is one way. Getting further into the coil also increases the chances of getting Ascendant Alloy at the end of the mission. You are able to buy one Ascendant Alloy a week from Rahul as well if you do not mind spending the legendary shards for that. Finally, you can earn them through leveling up Banshee 44 in the tower. That should cover everything you need to know about crafting to get you started creating your perfect weapons. If you found the video helpful, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so that you do not miss an upload from me. Next week, I'll be jumping back into my subclass breakdowns with the Voidwalker. Thank you for watching and happy farming.